Testing one, two, testing one, two. Hello, everybody. This is Chris from the Stewart Buzz. We are here with Kaylee today, the amazing intuitive oracle card reader, where apparently she is becoming more and more insightful as the days goes on. It almost looks like it's going to rain and sun shower. But anyway, so hi to everybody and happy 10th to you. It is February 10th, 2025, and the Super Bowl halftime sucked. But anyway, so Kaylee thinks that she came up with this brilliant idea.
I thought it was pretty brilliant.
So we're going to see how brilliant it really is.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
And take it away.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Kaylee, and we are here with the Stewart Buzz and Psychic and the Genie. And so my bright idea was, we have a lot of people come by and, they're looking for a real psychic, right? Or a real psychic medium. They've had a lot of experiences with fakes and things like that, which valid, right? And so when they look up our store, one of the main names that they see is Chris. And so I thought that a great idea would be to, hey, let's interview you and see how you got started and how you got to where you're at. And, so that way when people look him up, they know, you guys know a little bit about him.
Okay. So, I think that might work. Let's see. I'm not that interesting.
He's pretty interesting. He's pretty interesting.
We'll find out if I'm interesting or not.
Right. Let us know.
So away you go. You want to be the person behind the microphone.
That's right.
And then you need to be the personality behind the microphone.
Well, I am the personality behind the microphone.
Let's see how personality you are.
All right. So where are you from? What's your name? You all have to start somewhere.
Right. Okay. So I am from New York. I was born and raised in a little town called West Islip, Long Island, New York. Thank you, everybody. So we have to. No, you don't. No,
I get to touch the remote because it's my interview.
No, you're not.
Yes, it's my interview.
I will break your fingers.
I'll break your fingers back.
You can't break my fingers back. You really want to go there?
You really want to go there?
You can't beat me in an arm wrestle.
Yeah, right.
All right. So anyway, I was born on Long Island, New York, not too far from. I guess it is far from Nassau County, but anyway, we lived in Suffolk County, Long Island, New York. That's where we were born and raised.
Awesome. So, with having a psychic ability and mediumship, right? How did you get started? What was your first experience?
Well, I definitely know. So it was 8 years old. And as a little kid, being raised with two sisters, I would always open. So we were really never allowed to turn the heat on in the wintertime, by the way. So we're probably the only house on West Islip that heated our house with a wood-burning stove. I had one of the chores of cutting wood and putting it into our house so we can heat our house. So our house was like 20 below, and I would sneak and turn on the heater and sit in the bathroom because we had the heat that goes upward. But anyway, after taking a shower and stuff, I would then have a towel wrapped around me, and I would open the door, make sure that there was nobody around. Every time I peeked open the door, something walked by me and walked towards my mother's and dad's bedroom was here. My sisters were here, and I was on this side, right across from the bathroom. And I would, as soon as they opened the door, see this thing walking by, and it walked towards my sister's room. And eventually I told my mother that. So she was more oh, no, don't worry about something like that. That's kind of normal. And then she went into the whole idea of what my father's mother did, which my father's mother was a tea leaf reader and a psychic medium. That's what she did. Her mother did that as well. And my aunts did it. And my father, although he was a psychic medium and he saw things, he never wanted to do it for a living. He didn't think it was his business to be able to do that. So just so my father used to do, before I lost one of my YouTube channels over here, you can see the interview with my dad. He never wanted to be involved with something like that, but he could stand. My father worked in construction for Lizard Industries on Long Island, and he actually, what was really cool is he can stand in front of a vacant house and tell you the contents of everything in the house, and what was in the drawers of the cabinets that are inside there.
So did you see him do that a lot?
I never saw him do it at all. This is what he told me. My father's not the type of dude to lie about this stuff. If you
Right.
knew my parents were not like, my mother was animated. My father was not. My father was just a, just a
Oh,
dad that.
is that where you get the
Right,
animation
right. I
from?
am clearly an offspring of my mother there. Yes, my mother was very animated. My father was not. My father would just lay on the floor and watch fake wrestling and
On the
stuff like
floor?
that. My father would lay on the floor in the playroom, and that's what we called it, because we had a carpeted floor. He would lay down because my father had a very bad back,
Helped.
and he did not necessarily want to lay on the couch. He would lay on the floor in front of the TV. Now, back in the day, the TV actually went, you didn't actually have a remote. You didn't have anything like that. You got to remember how old I am compared to you.
We actually have one of those in my basement back at home.
So, so my father said that he can actually see things inside the houses. So they tried it once. They went in there, and where my father said these things were, the guys went in there, this construction workers, and everything was there, and they were going to take it. My father said, "No, you guys, look, you can't take it. This belongs to this house. Whether or not it's abandoned or not, it still belongs to the house. Do not take it." So my father was very strict on that. So my mother's really kind of the one that nurtured me, what I do. She always wanted to go through cemeteries and look at the cemetery plots. Not that dead people live at cemeteries, by the way, because they don't. But what I'm saying is the dates, the names, the history behind it. It was very intriguing to my mom. We went to a steakhouse one time out east, and right next to the steakhouse was an extremely hundreds of years old cemetery that we would walk through. Just me and my mom. My dad didn't go. My sister didn't go. Me and my mom would walk through the cemeteries and look at the old cemeteries, and just kind of enjoy walking through it. Yeah, you might think that's weird. It really wasn't. It was really very cool. There's really cool history behind that. So then my mom started telling me about Edgar Casey. But before that, I don't want to go because that's more into my 10th year. My 8th year, every time I opened up the door, I told you I saw somebody. And then it got to the point where I used to do astral projection, which was, I was sort of traveled when I slept. When I woke up in the morning, and this is actually published in the books, Gifted Innocence by Sidney Sherman. You can get that on Amazon, by the way, Gifted Innocence. I did title the book, and my stories are in the book. But I will say that when I woke up in the morning, there were no sheets on the bed. There were no, it's just like, it was shambles. But I remember traveling when I slept, and I knew how to fly. I do. I knew how to fly up, gain enough speed to glide down, and just to be able to go up again. And I can actually, it got to the point where I can actually pick a place that I want to go. Like I would read a book and say, okay, this looks like a really cool place to go.
Yeah.
And I would actually go to that place.
So you started to be able to control where
Right.
your astral projection.
I have also had the same exact dream, the same dream from when I was a child of 8 years old to this day at 62.
What is that dream?
That dream is me at Southgate School, for anybody that has been to West Islip, that is close to my age. Southgate School was my elementary school. I'm around a bunch of my friends, I'm assuming, was my friends, because I can't see their faces. They're sort of blurred out. But I would show them, I would tell them, I said, I can jump from here and fly over that building and come back. And they all dared me. They didn't think I can do it, but I did. And I flew up over Southgate Elementary School, come back, fly, and land down next to them. And they were like, oh my God, that's so freaking cool. Now, that also may not be metaphysical in any way, but that also may be my subconscious that I wanted to always try to rise above somebody, in a way. So but for me to have the same dream now, then the same dream now that I did when I was a kid, I find that kind of strange that it's the same exact dream all the time. And then I started having dreams later. I got married, by the way. When I got married, and then I had to go to work, and things got in the way, and the paranormal part of me kind of disappeared for a little while. And I openly admitted that. I said I didn't do readings for a while. When life gets in the way and you have to raise kids and stuff like that, it kind of puts a halt on things. So I will remember that when I was married, that I had a friend of mine, my actually godmother's child passed away. His name was Rusty. That's Russell. His nickname was Rusty. And he came, was really weird because my ex-wife called me up and said, you're not going to believe this, but I was doing my hair and I turned around and Rusty was standing in the shower just staring and looking at me. Now, my ex-wife's not the type of chick to be doing anything like that. She's like a very normal human. And we found out that Rusty passed away.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was really a very cool experience.
So that's when you started to get back into everything?
Not quite yet. But I even when I went to wakes,
Yeah.
I would always like stare at the person who's sort of passed, if you want to use that, and I would want to poke them to see if they can move. Or I always wondered how long they can hold their breath for, because like they don't see them breathing. I'm like, why aren't you breathing? And you know, the logical part of me says, okay, dumbass, they're dead. But I don't necessarily believe in death. So
Right. So some part of you questioned that.
yeah, like, can you like wake them back up? Can you do that if you tried? So I was doing that as well. It was really weird because my mother used the Ouija board when I was a kid. That used to be on the YouTube channel as well. All that stuff is gone now. But my mother used the Ouija board with her friends who also played Mahjong. So it was growing up in that environment of metaphysics, paranormal, if you want to say. And then I started doing readings a little bit more. I never charged for my readings, by the way. I actually thought it was wrong to do that. Only later on did I have to make a choice to do that. How I really got into the reading part, though, is that I started doing readings in New York, and I was charging a certain amount of money, but I had a full-time job as well. So I was doing readings and a full-time job. Eventually, the readings got so busy that it was making more than my full-time job. I had to make a choice, really, kind of which one it was. So, well, I started kind of sucking at my full-time job because I was concentrating solely pretty much on my readings and not my full-time job.
Right.
So the universe took care of that. because I was kind of let go, believe it or not. And then I said, okay, well, that was the universe telling me that I need to do this for a living. So I did. And that's when I was interviewed by the Daily Blue in my house in Babylon Village. And I was filmed on TV. We did Madhouse TV as well. That was in West Islip on Montauk Highway. And then everything started rolling. I was working with the Guardians of Rescue, Robert Messeri, who is a very cool dude. And, on the murdered kitten case, believe it or not. And I started working on a murder case in Queens, New York, with a 14-year-old girl who, with her throat slit. And I was asked to kind of work on that. So then it started getting more and more. The more I did it, the more pronounced it came. The more I did it, the more real it became. The more I did it, the more information I absorbed. Now, mind you, I will tell you that even to this day, before every single reading, I get major anxiety. And everybody's like, well, why would you do that? Why would you? Well, you sit your ass down in front of somebody that you don't know for 30 minutes and tell them everything about their life, make sense, and then pay you money. Now, I remember in Altamont where I had my first metaphysical store, and I had a sign outside of it, and it said, readings, $10. It was in a flea market in Sanford, Florida, where I got my little puppy, Jasper, the hurricane sniffing dog. If you look back at some of the things on Facebook, on the videos, you'll see the hurricane sniffing dog. So we came across that sign about a year or two ago, Genie and I, and that's another story I'll have to mention. But yeah, so I charged $10, and then it started getting busier, and then busier, and then busier, and I was like, holy, like, and then I charged a little bit more. Then I charged a little bit more. The thing seemed that the more I charged, the more people came.
Right.
But I thought also that charging too much is completely unfair, because I am not here to just help the rich people. And so therefore I had to at least have a cap on what I would charge for reading.
So I have a couple questions for you, but first, how do you read? So if somebody were to sit down in front of you, how do you read?
I have no clue. That's a fact. I don't
Right.
have any clue. I don't even believe in psychics. I think they're a bunch of fakes and phonies and frauds.
Do you ask questions in your readings?
No, we do not. No, actually, nobody. Is that proper English? Actually, in Psychic and the Genie, we are not allowed to ask questions, and you are not allowed to ask us questions. So what is the logic of you coming to a psychic and then you asking, well, I want to know about my love life, I want to know about my job? Well, then you kind of told the psychic pretty much how messed up you are as far as those things are concerned. So therefore, why even go into that? You should not have to ask questions. That's just absolutely ridiculous. And so there's psychics around here that say that you have a curse and only they can lift it. Only they can lift it. You can't help yourself. That's not true either. And those are scammers, and I'd be very careful for that. I am no better than anybody else. I will tell you that. I just know scammers are out there. So I would do your homework before you go get a reading. I would clearly do your homework, look up the reader, see the testimonials of the reader, see if it jives with your energy to get a reading. That's what I believe.
Right. Another question that I have for you, I know that when we were first talking, you were talking about when you were 8 years old, you used to peek open the door and you used to see something walk past you. So I know for a lot of people, I know in my readings, a lot of the time it comes through my own imagination, and a lot of the time it comes in my own voice. I just kind of get different personalities. So for you, do you see things? Do you hear things? How does that how does it
I
come to
do.
you?
I see and I hear um, everything. I don't know how it comes to me. So when I
So
do
do
a
you
reading,
see it like a play? Is that how you
no,
see
it's
it?
like a movie.
It's like a movie,
So
okay.
so what's really cool is that people come to me, I think, is because I am just as shocked when something comes through as the person that's sitting in front of me. They're like, "How do you know that?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's so freaking cool that your dead uncle just came in." And I'm like, "Wait, I don't really mean it that way. I don't mean that it's cool that your uncle's dead. I just think it's cool that your uncle is able to talk to us." You know, I have actually done readings not that long ago, sitting right in front of me here, and I mentioned a name. I forgot what name it was. And then I mentioned another name, which happens to be the brother of the person. And then I wrote self harm. And that person that I named did self harm. And then underneath that, I wrote the word gun. Apparently, the dude that was connecting with me shot himself in the head. And the name before that was his brother.
Wow.
So it's like his brother, and then him, and then the self harm and the gun. It was a whole storyline. That's how when I write something down, that's how it happens. It's a whole storyline. And I will tell people, if you don't know what it is now, you will know what it is down the road. Don't throw away the piece of paper. Trust me. Just put it in your top drawer and leave it there.
So do you read with just pen and paper?
Yes, and the person in front of me, of course. But yeah, pen
And what
and
do you do? Just pass? Just future? Mediumship?
I do all of the above, but I don't go 2 years forward. I think that's a fake thing too. So like if I tell you, hey, oh, by the way, you're going to get a flat in 10 years, I'm most likely probably going to be right. I would say that 10 years you're going to get a flat. And I'm not a wise ass like that, but I read all the way back to when you were a child, all the way up to 2 years forward, and I leave it at 2 years forward because I I I don't like to do any further than that. Now, sometimes it does happen further than that. Sometimes it's 5 years forward. I am reading a couple, believe it or not, and I don't usually do couples, but I am reading a couple in a couple of weeks that I read when I lived in Orlando. They called me back up. It used to be a video on my YouTube, and the only reason I remember it because I remember it on YouTube. I used to watch my own readings because I just thought they were freaking cool. I just read, I read through the books of the testimonials because they're old. They're from 2012, 2010. So what I do, I have no idea. My family on my father's side are psychic mediums. I didn't plan on doing this. It planned me, I guess.
Yeah. I think I have one more big question to ask, and I feel like this is something a lot of people, do question when coming into a psychic store. Is, in the book of Revelations, they talk about psychics and mediums, and, how this can be viewed as a bad thing, and this can be viewed as like, the devil and things like that. What is your viewpoint on that topic?
I have this kind of conversation on a TV show in New York. So here we go. And this is the way I look at it. First of all, I believe in God and I believe in Jesus. I don't believe in everything, but I believe in most things. And definitely Christian all the way. It's a Christian based metaphysical store as well. I wear Jesus around my neck all the time. I get anxiety if I don't have him with me. But luckily, my mother gave me a cross over there that I keep with me from Medjugorje, right there. Thank you, Vanna. So I don't really know how to answer that question. Do it one more time.
So my question for you is when people question, so coming
Okay,
into
so
the
let's go with that. I said to a pastor on TV in New York, Jesus was a man. He was God's son. Well, so am I. Jesus walked the earth. Yes, I'm walking the earth now. Now, mind you, I'm not comparing myself to Jesus by any way. He was a much cooler dude than me. He had sandals, a robe, long hair. Cool dude. He really didn't have long hair, by the way, if you look at the real picture of Jesus. Middle Eastern dude. But anyway, he bled and he died. He was a man. He was a carpenter. He walked this earth. He was a prophet. He was a healer. He was God's child. We are all God's children, correct? So
right.
I said to the minister, pastor, he calls himself. He said, I said to him, so is all this true? Is he a man? What did he walk the earth? Did he rise and sit next to his father? He goes, absolutely. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. I said, then why is it okay that you talk to a dead dude, but it's not okay that I do? I mean, he didn't have an answer for it. Oh, he goes, that's totally different. That's totally different. I said, how is it different? I mean, I don't understand why you're allowed to talk to an amazing man that walked the earth and healed people, but I'm not allowed to talk to somebody. I don't think that's fair. What's
Right.
your take on that, by the way?
So so with the book of Revelations, I've learned to take what resonates with me and like what doesn't resonate with me. And I think the biggest thing is like I never planned on being here either at this point in my life, right? So like I never was like when I was younger, I'm like I'm gonna be doing readings. Like that's what I'm gonna do, right? I doubted my like ability for a really long time, and it so for me it was just it's just something that I believe God really placed in my life. Um, and there really is like
So
it is hard
I
to
can
like
ask you the same question then.
right,
If you didn't believe that you'd be doing this and you were insecure in doing it,
right.
then how do you get better each time?
Well, I mean, you've definitely helped me. I think that with getting better each time is just getting outside of my comfort zone. I think that if I just have to trust myself, and what's coming through and, that sort of
Because
thing.
because the message that's coming through is not supposed to make sense to you.
Right,
That's what lots of psychics or people who want to be in the psychics have the ability, but don't have the balls to actually like say it. Like people come to me because I'm blunt and I say really bad stuff. If there is bad stuff, if there is good stuff, I will say the good stuff, but I'll call you boring. So when I say boring, and then I say to them, well, you know what? Boring is actually good in my book. That means there's not a lot of drama and trauma.
I,
Go ahead.
I would like to also add really quick, there's good and bad in everything, right?
Correct. Yes.
So like how we were just talking about with like psychic mediums and like there's fakes out there and they'll be like your life is shit and they'll be like here I can provide this for you and it's going to be an extra $200 or $300, right? And so just know like there's good and bad in everything.
Correct.
And that goes for that can go for even church, that can go for different religions, that can go for a hot dog, that can go for whatever. You know what I
Let's
mean?
back off the hot dogs.
Okay, all
Okay.
right, relax.
So there's good and bad priests, there's good and bad ministers, there's good and bad pastors, there's good and bad shamans, there's good and bad and voodoo
Absolutely.
high priestess. I know a voodoo high priestess that used to come to our store who's just an amazing lady.
Right.
She looked at me and she says, "Oh no, dear. She was a Haitian woman, and she actually said to me, you know, there's good and bad voodoo. I do
Absolutely.
not do bad voodoo. Um, so there's good and bad psychics, and the bad psychics typically tell you that you need to be healed. I see smoke out there.
Oh,
Do you not
right.
see smoke out there?
Seems for like past like feel like half hour.
Okay, great. Our store is probably on fire. No, just kidding. But so there is this whole misconception that what we do is just scamming people. Now, mind you, I'm with you 90% of the time on that. Um, I don't claim to be the best psychic. I don't claim to be the best anything. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even pretend to know what I'm doing. I tell every single person that's sitting in front of me, I have no idea what I'm doing.
I think the biggest thing is like we're not it, we're not looking for anything out of any. We just want to help people. You know, like that's honestly, if you were to meet us, like if you come into the store, have a conversation with us, know us as human beings, you know that the integrity behind it is you could perceive something from the outside and have no idea what's going on and just can kind of judge a book by its cover. And again, that goes for anything. But if you were to really get to know, Chris as a human being, or myself, or any other reader, and that goes for anybody really, is you would see that what we do is to simply just help other people, and I think that that's really our purpose, right?
People move forward.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like we've also hit, our face on the ground. I feel like a lot of us have, and I think our purpose comes from when we can come out of that and help other people through it. And like we've experienced things in our life, that we're able to hold, space for somebody who has also experienced those things, and be able to kind of, walk them through it. And
Everything that happens to you,
hmm
I perceive it to be a lesson.
yeah, absolutely.
So you take that lesson and you pass it on. So somebody that's sitting across from you, and I tell them, I said, "Oh my God, that happened to me as well." And so these are lessons that we learned that we can try to help the person that's sitting in front of me to cope. It's sort of a I want to use the fact, hey, there's the people that you read today. I mean, we can go get them; they could be on the podcast. But no, we're gonna have to close soon anyway.
Oh,
But and anyway, so each one of these things are lessons. The things that happen to you, don't look at them as a negative. Look at them as a lesson in life and
right,
take that lesson and walk with that lesson. But to hold on to stuff that happened to you when you were a child
right.
serves you no purpose today.
No.
So, and that's what I try to explain to them. So, you've been holding on to something that happened to you when you were 8 and now you're 60. How is that serving you? How is that helping you?
So real quick, I also want to ask, I know we know you do readings, right? But what else do you do?
I eat and sleep.
No, what other kind of readings do you do?
I don't know.
I heard you do law of attraction. Is that correct?
I do.
And so what does that entail?
But those aren't readings. So you gave that misconception there.
Oh,
So,
well, that's why I'm asking then,
so the law of
right?
attraction is the is turning all negatives into a positive. It's to manifestation, manifesting the positives, and getting rid of the negatives. Now, I got to give kudos to Genie on that because she's really kind of the one that like really pushed that on me. Um, so actually, without Genie, probably none of this probably would have happened. I would have still been doing readings, but I probably would have been doing reading who knows where. This all, and to say the universe put this in front of us, I don't know. Um, but it really wasn't supposed to happen this way. I was going to get a little tiny store so people didn't have to come to the house to do readings. Then people said, "Hey, you want to buy some crystals?" So we bought this little set of crystals, um, and then we started buying more crystals, and then we had more crystals, and then we got addicted to buying crystals, and we couldn't stop buying
You never have
crystals.
enough crystals.
Right, and so it became more and more and more and more, and now we love them. And it was all really because of Genie's insight. Now, what's funny about it is because so Jeannie and I went to high school. Now, Jeannie really didn't pay any attention to me, of course. Jeannie was like one of the more beautiful girls in high school. And I was just this like bodybuilding dude. And that's all I was really interested in. So
You have to let them know who Genie is for the people who don't know, which
well,
everybody will probably know. If you know Chris, you know who Genie is, but
so psychic and the genie. I am the psychic, and the girl who that lives with me is Genie. Yeah. So, and that's her real name. There's a twist on the spelling, but other than that, that is her real name. And I did a reading for Genie when she was 50. That was 12 years ago. And her mother came through. And there was some really interesting things that I had no idea what the hell I was doing at that point. And I still don't know what I'm doing. But names, dates, situations came through, which were very cool. And my father, I just got to skip around for 1 second. My father told us a story on YouTube back in the day. And he said, when I interviewed him in his house, he goes, I knew when my grandmother was going to die because I was there. I came home and I told my mother, which is my grandmother, that grandma's going to be coming home on Thursday. And all his relatives, all his brothers and stuff like that said, no, she didn't say that. And my father said, no, definitely said it. And then my father's mother said, don't worry. My father's name was Vigo, by the way, Vigo. And she goes, don't worry, Vigo, I understand what she meant. And she died on Thursday. And she came home. So that story always stuck with me as well, along with the story that I shared once before. I'll do this briefly. Is that when my mother was going through open heart surgery, she was not allowed to go through open heart surgery under a full anesthesia. She had to go into her local because she was that sick. And then while she was getting operated on, there was an orderly in the back room over there, still in the operating room, but she had signaled him to come over here because she wanted somebody next to her while she was getting her chest cracked open. But she had talked to him and said, hi, what's your name? And he said his name was Angel. No pun intended, but, he's a Spanish dude. And Angel is a very common name for a Spanish person. And so she thought maybe she was hallucinating because the guy stayed with her the whole time. He left for a little while, came back. But anyway, my mother told the story to my dad, and she thought maybe because she was under a local, she was hallucinating, which is possible. But my father said, no, Rose, because that was my mother's name. Angel came out to us and told us that you're going to be okay. Told my sister, too. My sister Laura said to my sister, don't worry, your mom's going to be okay. Didn't just come out once, came out twice to tell him. So a couple of months later, when my mother was going through her checkup again, she had asked the doctor if she can actually talk to Angel because he was so nice and he was there to help her out. And the doctor said, Rose, there was no orderly in there named Angel. She goes, but there had to be. He stood with me. He went out to my husband and my daughter. He goes, Rose, I'm telling you, there was no orderly named Angel.
Get out.
So the doctor said this to my mother, Rose, maybe that was your angel.
Wow, I got chills.
I
when I get chills, it's
almost
my
cry
truth
every
lines.
time I say this story.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
There's
chills. It's the
many
truth.
stories that I can go into that are just like that.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you that
Right.
when you decide to go on vacation, is what I call it. When you decide to move forward and get out of the meat suit, which Kaylee calls it.
Total me too.
That's right. So
It's heavy.
I, 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 I believe that you go and visit your relatives who are also on vacation. And I always joke that my mom and dad will probably ask me to pay for the bill. But that's probably all the time we have for today. Do you have anything else that you want to add? Oh, I do want to add, by the way, that tomorrow the seminar for the holistic healing has been postponed to the following Tuesday. As far as I know, you'll hear more about that, but it has been postponed. So anybody that planned on coming here tomorrow night,
That was me.
anybody that planned on coming tomorrow night for the holistic healing seminar, it has been postponed, and it will resume the following Tuesday. As far as I know, you will hear otherwise. If well, we come on here every day. So, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just real quick, I just wanted to let everybody know that should I let them know kind of what we do here at Psychic and the Genie, right? So we do readings. Chris does psychic medium readings. I do the intuitive oracle readings. We also have Esther that does tarot readings and Colette that does tea leaf readings. We have sound healing every Thursday from 5 to 6. That's donation based. And then we have Reiki every Wednesday from 6 to 7, correct? And that is also donation based. All of our readings for 15 minutes are $40, for 30 minutes is $70. And then Chris also does the Law of Attraction, which is a total of 5 classes. And that is really awesome as well, too, if you're really looking to, get out of
Move
your own
forward.
head.
Yeah, move forward in your life.
Yeah, if you're looking to move forward in life. And so we do offer that as well. So thank you so much for letting me interview you, which I've been trying to do for a hot minute now.
I just don't like to do that because it's because I have no
We know.
idea what I'm doing.
You don't need to know what you're doing.
I don't. I
Yeah.
don't.
But
But I admit that.
yeah. But I hope y'all have an amazing day and lots of love.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.